Hello, welcome to another edition of the making of the songs from my latest album, Fast Cakes Life Story. This next track is an unusual one in the fact that it was added very late in the day. It's called Kaleidescope Funkin' Out, but it has rather a longer history than just coming later in the day. What happened was, back in 2010, I recorded an album with my old band Bass Axe, along with the other members of the band, including Alan Savage, Sav, who wrote most of the songs, almost all of them. We did the album, that came out, and then following that we did one or two other tracks that were either going to be another Bass Axe album or another project, which never really came to fruition. And what happened was, got to almost the end of making Life Story, the album, earlier this year, 2014, and I was just going through the hard drive on my Roland VS2480 just to see if there was any other bits or any other scraps or any other half-finished songs that I'd forgotten about. One of the beauties of having a sort of a hard drive with all sorts of stuff on is that it can be months or years later I go onto it and I find stuff that I'd forgotten I'd even recorded. So on this occasion I was just going through the hard drive and I came across a backing track which sounds like this. As you can hear there, it's a drum machine, some bass guitar and some guitar. Now that was all put down over in the Philippines by Sav, and he sent it over the internet to me and I put it on the hard drive, and the idea was I was going to arrange something over the top of it to end up with a song. So this was back in 2010. The first thing I did was I actually put a sample of, I think it's the House of Pain Jump. I'm not sure on that, I haven't checked it, but I'm pretty sure it's the House of Pain Jump. And so what I did was I had a sample of that which I just put on right the way through. So there you go, that was that. So I had that going all the way through. So the only other thing I added on in 2010, way back when, was what I've called a bell riff, and it was just a little synth bell sound that I added. That was kind of a random thing, I was just playing with fingers like that, sort of a double take on that. And that was just like pretty random, and that went in and out through the song, and that was as far as I got in 2010, and then it was just left. And then when I was going through the hard drive I came across it and I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. So I started to add things to it with the idea of maybe, if it worked out, putting it on the album. So the first thing I did was I added what I've called an organ riff, and it was just like a little riff which again came in and out during the song. This is what it sounded like, the organ riff. So that was that, so a little organ riff going. Then I decided to add some strings, what's called a pad in the trade. And this more or less went all the way through, and it was just like a one note drone thing. And this is the strings I added. It more or less mimicked what the organ riff was doing. So that was more or less the backing track done. So I thought, well, I better start adding some vocals. And I had absolutely no idea what I was going to do. So what I do often on these occasions is literally just play the track through 3 or 4 times and sit here with a microphone and scream into it and see if I can get any sense. And what I decided to do on this occasion was to have a very aggressive, metallic sounding vocal. And as I previously used, I used the VoiceWorks Plus TC Helicon gizmo, which puts strong effects on the voice. And this sounded like, I suppose, a bit like a Dalek kind of sound. And the style of the vocal, the way I saw it, was a little bit like John Lydon in Pill, which is very sort of, you know, anarchic and tuneless, but still, you know, appealing, hopefully. So this is what I came up with the vocal, and again, it was making words up as I went along, and there was only really one line in the whole thing, which was, "You know I'm funky now," which I actually changed when you get to the title, but that's what I was singing the whole time, more or less. You know I'm funky now. 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 So that was that. It was interspersed during the song was me singing that. There's some slight variations. So that was the lead vocal. I wanted something, quite often in these songs you wanted some light relief, some melody with all the sort of anarchy that's going on. What I decided to do was add some words along the organ riff melody. So I did a nice, relatively sweet melody, very simple, just 3 notes, and I sang "Collide in Hope, Kaleidescope," which doesn't really mean anything, but I quite like the idea of the phrase "collide in hope" and "kaleidoscope" being very similar. And I added 4 voices, 2 high and 2 low, and this is how they came out. Collide in hope, kaleidoscope. So that was that, 4 vocals. That came in 3 times during the song, just to break it up. I decided to track that with a synth, with heavy portamento. So I tracked the vocal line with a synth melody, and this just to beef up the sound, and this is how it came out. So that was that. Unusually, for songs that I do on this multi-track, I didn't use anywhere near the full 24 tracks. In fact, I think I used 16 out of the 24, which, you know, I don't often do, but I think there was so much in Sav's backing track, the drum machine, the bass and the guitar, that took up a lot of tracks, just those 2 tracks there. The only other thing I added at this stage were some hand claps on the verse, which is 1 lot of claps hard left, 1 lot of claps hard right, panned out. So a bit of hand claps there coming in and out. So that was more or less it for this stage. What I did at this point was actually mix a version of this with what I had on there. What I do normally, or in fact what I do every time with a song, is record it here, do a master, and then take it to my PC, and I use a program called Steinberg's Wavelab to do any editing, post-production and mastering is all done on Steinberg Wavelab. So I'll just show you that bit now on this particular song. So here we are on my PC, and we're now at the stage where it's what I'd call post-production. So I've loaded in Kaleidescope, Funkin' Out, which has been mastered on the Roland. The first thing I'd normally do would be to edit anything. What I did was, in this case, was there's actually a little, I go into a bit of Funky Town by Lip Sync later on in the song, just for, well, it was for 8 bars, and I actually thought it was too long, so I cut that down to 4 bars. And if there's any other little bits need doing, sometimes I cut things down a couple of bars here and there. So I do the editing first, and then I do any effects or any echo, any reverb that might be needed to add to certain parts of the song, or if certain sections just need a little boost. And then I need to master it, and I've got some VST plugins here. The one I use at the moment for mastering is called Grand Comp 3, which just boosts all the signal and makes everything sound a little bit more heavy. And I've got used to using presets on this. The one I probably use most is Master Basic 2. So I would select Master Basic 2, and then I would render it, and it would run through this track and add this boost to it all. And you can see there the signal gets a little bit louder. Obviously this is from the master, so I'll have to undo this, otherwise we'll be double mastering. So that's that. The other thing I added to this part of the song was there was a section which was about 16 bars long, 12 bars long, and there wasn't a lot going on, so I decided to add, I tried to get a sampled voice just speaking the lyrics, and I was wondering how to do this, and I googled text to speech, and in the end I got this Translate and Speak website, which basically if you type in anything, you can get somebody or a machine to actually speak the words. So this is what I did, and so I typed in, I'm funking in, I'm funking out, I'm breaking hearts, I'm making enemies, and it came out like this.
I'm funking out, I'm funking in, I'm breaking hearts, I'm making enemies.
So I had that basic thing where it was a machine speaking the words, and I just flew that into the track before I mastered it, put a bit of reverb on it and made sure it was at the right balance, and that was the song finished. And so this is what the finished song sounds like.
breaking hearts. I'm making enemies. I'm funking out. I'm funking in.
There you go. 13 tracks plus Funkin' Out, Kaleidescope are available on Fast Cake's new album Life Story. That's available on Spotify, iTunes, CD Baby and Amazon, etc. Thank you.